Right. Hello, everybody. I'm going to be using this screencast to talk about APA formatting for your annotated bibliography. And I'm going to just re-stress this here because I feel like it's important to continue to reiterate this. But um, every instructor is going to be different. While they're going to follow the same rules essentially for formatting in a lot of ways for APA, they also will maybe ask for different things and how they want you to structure and set it up. So it's always very important to check and see what your instructor or your professor is asking you to do as far as in terms of format. And if you have questions, it's always great to ask. Okay, they're not going to penalize you for asking questions, and hopefully they will help give you some guidance and help you get set on the straight path. So I'm going to be talking about what I'm requiring of you to do for your sample and I'm sorry, for your, and this is my sample, your annotated bibliography for your persuasive research essay. Okay, so we're going to keep we're going to keep the title page because you're going to use the title page on your research essay anyway. And so just go ahead and doing the annotated bibliography with the title page is just a helpful way to set it up. So I'm going to, on my top line, I'm going to put on the far right hand side, I'm going to use insert a page number. Remember with APA, you do not put your last name in your running header. That title page kind of serves as your identifiers for your essay. Okay. So, and another note on the font, I know you probably, some of you probably remember, some of you just need a little bit of a refresher, which is why I'm kind of going over some stuff again. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, why is she talking about this again? But I want you to remember that you can choose any font for APA. Within, well, I guess within certain reasons. Obviously, they don't want you writing a paper in script. They don't. There's not a set font, I should say. There's not a set font for APA. But I would always just strongly encourage you to use Times New Roman 12-point font all the time. It just keeps things simple. Your brain automatically defaults to that. It should default to that, and you don't have to really worry about it. Is your text it doesn't look right because it's in some weird funky font? So you're going to use whatever font you're using, you're going to use 12-point font. And again, I would just go with Times New Roman just it makes it easy. Okay. Starting from the top line, you're going to go down about 4 lines from the top of the page, which is where you're going to put your title. Remember that we center our title on the page and we bold it in APA on our title page. We're going to bold it. So that's a difference from MLA. And so what I'm going to do, and everything again is double spaced, just like you do in MLA. Okay, so double spacing. So I'm going to put my title. And my title is Catching the Hallyu Wave, Why You Should Give Korean Dramas a Chance, an Annotated Bibliography. Okay, so that's my title, my working title, and I'm just using the title. This is the title of my paper. This is what I'm going to call my paper. So, what I'm going to title my essay. So, I'm just using that for my Annotated Bibliography title as well, just to kind of keep things streamlined and simple. Okay, so 2 double spaces down from that, you should start your identifiers. And there, remember that there are 5 lines of identifiers in APA. Your name first and last, the name of the university that you attend, Jacksonville State University, the call name for the course, EH 102 freshman composition, and then your instructor's name. And we use the full, like it's kind of important. I don't really know why it's important, but it just is to do a full title name. So it's not Miss Lloyd like it is in MLA. It's Miss Kelly Lloyd. Okay. And then the date format, and you'll notice again there's a difference in MLA. We're going straight left to right here, day, month, day, and year, just like we normally would write it when we were setting it up. Okay. On my next page, I'm going to start my references at the very top. I'm going to start at the very top, and let me pull this up just a smidgy. There we go. I'm going to start our references. And so what we're going to do is now Again, you may encounter a professor that asks you to title it something different. APA manual says annotated bibliography. The title should be references at the top of the page. So that's what we're going with. We're running with that, okay? But always check if you're confused. All right. So I'm doing the same treatment as I do to my title here. I'm just putting it in the center. I'm bolding it, bolding the font, and then I'm going to start with my annotated bibliography sections. Remember that we're doing alphabetical order by author last name. Now, here is where things get a little different, okay? I am citing for online magazines or online articles, online news articles, okay? I gave you a link to other, and most of you, I'm going to say 99.9% of your sources are going to be an online article, okay? Now, there might be somebody that has a scholarly article like or a book, but it's going to be really rare. So this is what I'm rolling with, so to just kind of talk about. But if you're confused or need more information on the Unit 3 tab, there is a section called Citing Electronic Sources in APA. It's down a couple of boxes. And this will give you a list, a reference list. And if you have never used this website before, I still use the OWL at Purdue, the online writing lab, for stuff when I'm looking stuff up. Absolutely, for reference lists and things like that. It's the best. It's the best source to me. Everything is neat. I can find it really easily. They keep it really up to date. They're on the APA style 7th edition. And so they update it every time that a new a guidebook comes out, new rules get made. I hate all these ads, so if I could just get rid of those. Okay, but the cool thing about this is it's going to go through how to cite all these different types of sources in APA, and it gives you the lineup, what it looks like, and an example so you can look and see what it looks like in person. But if you can't, if you have something other than an um, online news article is what I went with for every single one because all of mine were online news articles. Okay. So it will give you the proper way to set that up. Okay. All right. So let's go back to here. I'm doing an online article, so I'm gonna use that hanging indent just like I do in MLA. Okay, so my author's last name, comma. Here's where it's a little different. You do the initials. Okay, so if only the initials, like this guy, I think his name is Brian. Only Brian, it says Brian Ambrosino. That was his name. Okay. But if his name was Brian Taylor Ambrosino, you would use Ambrosino, comma, B period, T period. Okay. Um, it's author last name, comma, initials. If there's more than one listed on your article, then you'll list more than one initial. But if not, this is the way it is. The same thing happens if I have two authors. Like you may have a text that may have two authors. And what you do is you just cite the first one that's listed first. That's going to be your alphabetical order name. And then you would do an and sign, and then you would do the other person's name. And this time you would do it forward to like straight, like Brian Ambrosino. Okay. What comes next, you put in parentheses. It's going to be the year of the publication, followed by a comma, then the month, spelled out, no abbreviations, with the date, close the parentheses, and put the period at the end. Okay. So full year, comma, full month, day, close the quotation marks, close the parentheses, and put a period. Titles, okay? Titles of articles are, and I'm going to open this up really quick if it will let me do that without making, oh, there we go. That's what I wanted to do. Okay? Titles in APA, or titles in MLA, we capitalize everything properly. We put quotation marks around it. APA doesn't work that way. We only, in our APA format, we only capitalize the first word, and if there are any proper nouns that are listed within the title, we're going to capitalize those as well. Okay. You'll notice also that we do not put in quotation marks. We literally just start writing the title of the essay with no quotation marks and no capitalization unless it's a formal title. So my title of this is Here's Why Millions of Americans Are Binge Watching Korean Dramas. Okay. I know that I need to capitalize here. This is the first word. I know an American and Korean both need to be capitalized because they are proper nouns. Okay. All right. So I did that here, and then I put in a period after the end of the title. Again, no quotation marks are needed. Then you're going to do the title of the web or the source in italics. Okay, so the title of this source is Vox. It's an online newspaper, online periodical with lots of articles and whatever. So I'm going to use Vox as my name of my site, and then followed by a period at the end, and make sure that it's in italics. All right, I left this like this because I wanted you to be able to see how this works. Okay, so when you do the URL, that's what comes next is the URL. When you go to a URL, obviously, you just go and you pick it. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I got my screen's in the wrong direction. There we go. Okay, you have this really nice long thing, and it's not always going to fit the format for what you need it to look like. So I want to show you how you can fix that so that you don't have these giant gaps and then you roll into multiple lines that aren't necessary. So what I always do is I kind of estimate roughly about how much space I'm going to need to go to the end of the line. And if I'm a little bit off, I can always fix it. I think this is a good place to stop it. Okay, and I'm just going to click the enter button, and what will happen is it will throw half of that citation onto the top, and it will have the other half will be down below on the line. Now I just need to move this over, right, because I need it to look like my other hanging indent. Okay, there, just like that, I've made a nice, neat first line left align, second and third lines have a hanging indent. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time so that you can see it. So I estimate about where it needs to be. I'm going to push the enter button. Don't push the space bar, push the enter. Okay, it will throw it to that second line. Then I'm going to take that and I'm going to move it over to do my hanging indent. All right. Now, the other thing that's unique to this is when you start a paragraph. Now, normally, what we do when we start a paragraph, we're going to indent, right? We always indent. Not there. That's the wrong place. Huh? Start here. We're going to indent. But what happens when you indent when you have bibliographic information right above it? Well, it looks like you did something wrong, right? Because it's lining up with that second line of your hanging indent. So you're going to go to the left, okay, to start. Now, if I wrote two paragraphs for this particular one, I'm just going to copy and paste a new one. Okay, I'm going to treat it like I would a normal paragraph. Why? Because it looks funny if I leave it over here. So now I've indented it in and it fits right. It doesn't blur into like one big paragraph like, oh, I made a big gap there. Okay, so if I only have one paragraph, then I'm going to make it left align. If I go into 2 and 3 paragraphs, I'm going to push the enter button and I'm going to make that indented. Okay. All right. So then I'm going to do that exact same thing with every single one of my sources. All right. I'm going to do that with all of my sources. I'm going to do a full citation, hanging indent on the second line. Sometimes your URL won't roll over; it'll fit perfectly, and sometimes you'll have to get it. You'll have to fix it a little bit. Here's one right here that I had to fix to get it to work. The last thing that I'm going to tell you to do is to delink. Is that a word? Unlink. Unlink is probably the better word. I teach the English real good. Unlink the hyperlink, and to do that in Google Drive, if you're working in Google Drive, all you have to do is click on it until it hovers and pulls up this little website or whatever. And then I just wanted to click and say remove the link. Oh, how in the world? Oh, I turned on suggesting. How did I do that? That's crazy. Here we go. Try that one more again. Okay. And so then I don't have any crazy hyperlinks when I do my submission. Now you're like, well, Miss Lloyd, like what? I mean, why can't we just, you would be easy to click on the link. It's the font color. It makes it not formatted correctly. So you just keep it, unlink it so it's not blue. Okay. All right, so that is a sample annotated bibliography. I'm going to give you another one of these screencasts when we talk about the research essay. As always, if you have any questions about it, feel free to don't hesitate to contact me and ask me questions. That's what I'm here for. I'm always willing to help you and help you be successful because I want you to learn so that you can grow as a writer. Okay. So there it is, your sample annotated bibliography, and I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with.